Not a matter of if, but when crisis will rock your world. I'm Roshini Rajkumar, crisis strategist, licensed attorney, and host of The Crisis Files. In each case file, we explore hot topics with people working angles on the inside. Stephanie March is a hospitality insider whose insights influence legions of eaters. She's co-founder of Smarch Co and editor-at-large for Minneapolis-St. Paul magazine. Stephanie is here for the case file I call Hospitality Reality. Stephanie, just when you think event spaces are picking up and fewer restaurants are closing, there are more dangers on the horizon for the hospitality industry. What can you tell us?
Well, I mean, I think it's a really, the restaurant industry and the hospitality industry, the key thing to remember, it's made of people, you know? And so everybody has different things that affect the people in the industry, from labor issues to tariffs and everything else, to the fact that we may decide that we're pinching our pennies to then respond to the other economic, woes, to there could be, a massive storm with climate change that changes the way that patios work for someone. Business models that were set have to be flexible and move around. And so I think the number one thing for the restaurant industry is just like to be able to manage change and to be able to react to it and work within it. And I think that since the pandemic, most restaurateurs have reset to understand that change is their new metric and that they have to be nimble and ready to go.
I think anyone who understands business has to really appreciate restaurateurs, chef owners, whomever is running these organizations, because there are so many issues. There's front of the house, back of the house. There's the food supply chain. Yeah. There's labor laws, tipping issues, any kind of local sort of morality codes that go into whatever's happening at the moment. Yeah. Oh, we're not eating shellfish. Oh, we're not doing venison. I mean, so many things.
It's
attack.
Personal.
It's personal.
It's personal. Eating out is personal. If you think about this, no one gets all weepy when a dry cleaner closes. But if your favorite restaurant closes, you're like, wait a minute, what? My life is just different now. And so it's personal. You have to remember that.
It is so much. You have interviewed so many restaurateurs around the United States, and you have even done tours in France. I mean, you've seen the industry from all different ways. What keeps these owners in the game?
That's a good question, and it has to be a personal answer for everybody, obviously. But I think in truth, if you are a hospitalitarian, if you are someone who wants to be of service and to provide something for someone else, that's the essence of it, right? Hospitality is where you win. You're not just like flipping burgers and then setting them out. You're trying to give them to someone who wants them, and you're delivering them selflessly in a lot of ways. And hospitality and the acts of service, I think that has to be somewhere in your core. You have to want to be around other people, with other people, and do something that's a little bit not stuck in an office box, I think that the industry is kind of full of, we like to call, misfits, but really it's just a different way of seeing the world, I think. And I think it fits a lot of people, but you have to sort of make hospitality your own. And you have to come at it with kind of a personal vibe.
Yes, and it's really lots of layers that go into any decision that these owners are making. How does the restaurant industry fit into what we think of as the hospitality industry? And thank you very much for this new term,
hospitalitarian, and
hospitalitarian.
It's not mine. It's not. I did not make it up. It's kind of one of those ones I use it a lot.
I like it
because I describe that as if you are someone like me who wants to be of service. A journalism that I've been writing is service journalism, and that's because I want you to have your best night ever. I want you to have your best experience, and so I write things about having you find your way to the best food that you can possibly have that night. And I think for the restaurant industry, as far as hospitality, obviously the way people eat in America especially, but all over the world, changes. And so, if you look back on the timeline and you consider fine dining was like, the thing that we all judged everything by. I mean, the way that people write reviews is for, technically the old school way is about a fine dining structure. Who eats like that every day? And in fact, we don't eat like that every day. And in fact, we eat like in so many different ways every day that can also be valued. It's okay to value someone that's a quick serve, that, you pop in and you go get your quick coffee and your breakfast sandwich. That's a moment. That's a moment of hospitality that can happen. And we should value that, not because it's not of a certain standard, but because it interacts with people and it provides a moment of hospitality, which is a beautiful interaction of, people in this world.
What are you seeing on the horizon when it comes to cost structures? Families want to take their kids, maybe it's an anniversary trip. They want to go out, not just to eat, but they want to go on trips. They want to get on planes. They want to stay in hotels. What can you tell us about what's coming in costs? And can families still truly afford to get out and about?
It's really hard with costs, I think, because I do believe that you have to make concessions for things. And what I think about it is, what I want to make sure is that people don't undervalue food and experiences like this because they're doing other things. A lot of people say to me, like, well, they're not going to pay $300 for like a tasting menu. They're like, what? You paid $300 for 6 courses of food? And I say to them, what? You paid $300 for a sports ball ticket? You go sit in a stadium and your ears are blown off for 3 hours and you pay like $50 for a beer. And that's like, you're fine with that. Or you go to a concert and you have you go see Bruce Springsteen and that's like you're willing to pay $1,000 for Taylor Swift, whatever. But so it's a value proposition. And what are you valuing? And I value food over, like Manolo Blahnik. So I think that there's something about that.
That is a really tough balance for me.
I know it is.
I value both.
You do value both. But you also have to consider experiences. And
yes.
this is where I think the restaurant industry is uniquely positioned. And the hospitality industry in terms of hotels and vacations and all this kind of stuff, in that we hear often about the loneliness epidemic and we hear people like sequestering themselves.
We've talked about that on this show.
I bet you have. And so the only way to combat that is to find community. Where do you find community? Where's the easiest way you can find community? If you're people who are working remotely, are they stuck in their homes all the time? Most of them are going to find a coffee shop too. And that's because they're seeking people. And so the best, easiest way to access other people is through restaurants. And through taking the trip, going to immerse yourself in cultures, getting, off the screens or taking your screens with you, but then going out into the world. And I think that hospitality is where people meet other people in a safe way.
Exactly. Well, I want to get into something that our show's entertainment contributor, Paul McGuire-Grimes, calls a dirty word. And that word is content.
Content.
He says content is a dirty word because now everybody, all they need is a phone and TikTok. And even just the life of an influencer has changed because everyone can create content. That also lowers the value of professional content, professional journalists like you in your industry, as well as professional broadcasters like I am, and dumbing it down, maybe neutralizing it. So in your world of hospitality, how does Paul's dirty word content play out?
I think there has to be a reframing of this. I think, we in journalism, we were threatened a lot by the online content because it was taking things from us and we were thinking, the eyeball economy and they were taking that and we were kind of trying to figure out how to make things. And so then we joined them in this space, in a lot of ways. But I don't think you can stop progress. And I don't think that, I think old media needs to think about being new media as well. I think it's all about, again, change and sort of being nimble, and restaurants have to do that. I also think that they have to rethink about how they look at influencers and think of it as a business proposition. And if someone comes in and says, I want, X amount of things, I want free food and I'm going to give you exposure or I'll give you content, then treat it like a business proposition and say, okay, well, this is what we expect. This is what the situation is. Don't let them just sort of be out there taking advantage or assuming things. Be a part of the conversation. And then to also understand that those influencers are just guests as well. And so if you treat them like a guest, but then you make expectations clear, then I think you have a better relationship with social media, which isn't really going anywhere.
Yes, and this whole influencer category has definitely even changed in the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
I think 10 years ago, it was actually even more valuable. The last couple years, I just find almost anyone thinks they can be an influencer. So then it waters down that marketplace.
Right.
It waters down the credibility any influencer has, at least in my eyes.
Yeah, and I mean, and then you have to consider the AI situation, which is coming into it, which then sort of puts so many visuals out there that are crafted and sort of perfected in a way that are not really authentic. And again, I'm going to come back to that thing where we're going to get back to that human experience, I think. And I think we're craving it, we're seeing it. And so the more real and humanistic things are, I think those are going to be the touch points that people respond to, less than someone's perfect reel or someone's perfect photo shoot. I think it's really about sort of the messy and I think the authentic. That's what we're kind of looking at.
Well, speaking of kind of former or past, going new, modern, you even in your own business life
right.
With Smarch Co. I'm really excited to learn more about it, to share it with our listeners and viewers. So tell us about your new platform, your company, Smarch Co.
Yeah, it's just after years of being, I'm still editor at large at Minneapolis St. Paul Magazine, which is, one of the great media institutions in the Twin Cities. And I'm doing freelance writing for other publications as well. But I think there's another side that I understand that I can help restaurants or hospitality or people even working on what I like to call as packaging. And so packaging is really understanding a multi-platform take on things. It's not just video. It's not just social media. You can't just talk to somebody and try to get on TV. It's really how do you present yourself and how do you present yourself to the people so that you're meeting them where they are.
Yet you're also being consistent and authentic to your own brand.
100%. You have to be, especially in hospitality, you want to give the best to the people and you want them to understand what your offerings are. So you're speaking to them, but it's not just about shouting who you are and these are my dishes and this is my ethos. You kind of have to listen to them and see what they're looking for. And then you communicate on that level. And I think there's strategies there that the hospitality industry, it's innate in them and they just don't know it. They just have never thought about how that they can communicate.
Because maybe they're about the food and the feeding and the experience of it all.
And let's be clear, most people who open restaurants do not have any sort of communications idea. And, they're like, oh my God, I got to go get someone to do my social media. But we're talking about how to do that in a way that isn't just a burden. It's just another throw on how to authentically communicate with the people who want to come. And, it's butts and chairs.
And butts
and chairs. Let's get butts and chairs.
Let's get butts and chairs. But in doing the packaging that you're talking about, how do we make that just a common, maybe even easy part of the day or the week? I mean, I think about for the Crisis Files every week when we have fabulous guests, and putting on a weekly podcast is no small feat.
No.
And it is not just me, the host. There's an amazing team. Tom, Bridget, Lene, Nate, you've worked with them. And every week, Jessa, our from our website company, Northwing Digital. I mean, all of this is time, talent, experience that goes into every episode with love, with care, with authenticity, with transparency to put out the best for our listeners and viewers.
It's storytelling in a crafted way. You know what I mean? And I think about that is that it's very intentional. It's meant to be as much as you wouldn't just throw, a piece of ham and a lettuce and between two pieces of bread and throw it on a plate. You're going to craft that
that's
story.
my problem.
Yeah.
That's why I am not a cook.
Yeah. So then you just got to craft it a little bit. And these restaurateurs know how to create a beautiful story on a plate. I'm just saying, let's take this out a little bit and let's create that story and give it to the people in a lot of different ways.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can't let you go without asking you to pick some different parts of the world and the United States and give us, is it a restaurant? Is it something we should try when we're in those travels?
Oh, well, okay.
It's big. I'm giving you the world.
That's the big one. Well, I have to say I was just in Provence. I was in Aix-en-Provence, which is, this beautiful city in the Provençal region and the Côte d'Azur of France. And I mean, just I can't I can't tell you how beautiful that area is, but that little city, just in itself, if you're down there in Cannes, if you're down doing the big tour, stop in Aix-en-Provence, which is a beautiful ancient village, city center, that MFK Fisher, one of the best food writers in the world, of the past, she wrote this wonderful story about living there. And it's a very quiet time that you can take to sort of reset and walk everywhere and have lunch with a fountain full of rosé.
Can I wear a beret?
You can, but you more want to wear a straw sun hat.
Okay.
That
tip.
would vibe for you.
That's a good tip.
And lots of linen. So much linen.
I love linen.
So good.
My sheets are linen. So
there you are.
I love linen.
You're
it's the
built
best
for this.
It's the best fabric ever.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got that on restaurant. What about dream place you still have not visited?
Oh, gosh. I've been around the world a lot.
I thought you were going to say I've been around.
Yeah. No, the place I haven't, which is very strange, I'm going to say, is Budapest. I have long wanted to go to Budapest and sort of immerse myself in that mysterious city. And I know that the food there is not it's not, because I'm going to Paris already in November. I just came from Japan. I did Italy last year.
Oh, boring.
I know, right? So not to brag, but just I like a little bit of the off-center cities too. And so, I'm headed to Copenhagen hopefully, and there's other places too, that I think are just, and I think the most important thing is to just immerse yourself in the city's food scene, which is not to just only go to the hot restaurants, but it's to go to the supermarkets. It's to go find pizza.
Yeah, you learn a lot.
Find an Irish bar in any global city and you will have friends.
Yes, you will.
That's very true.
You will. You might get into a bar fight, but you will have friends.
Yes.
Budapest is an amazing place. I was there in my early years.
Yeah.
I studied abroad in Paris during college, traveled all that summer. Budapest was one of the places I visited with some college friends. It is amazing. Some of the most friendly, hospitable people ever.
Yeah.
And I will always also say that about Istanbul. I got to Istanbul.
Okay.
Very friendly. And the beautiful part of Istanbul about Turkey is you can see someone who has your coloring, someone who has my coloring.
Yeah, it's very
and we would both
international.
be Turkish.
Yeah.
No, and we're
Yeah.
Turkish.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, because it truly is.
Istanbul
is a city in both Europe and Asia. So
it is. That little area
Yes.
is just fantastic.
It's amazing. And before we let you go, we understand there's a pickle controversy going on in the United States.
It's a pickle sitch. Yeah, I just read the other day. So I have a famous love of pickles, and I like to say when I get a burger, I order it Pickle City, which means just get more pickles on there. But there's a controversy because pickles have kind of become a thing. People are drinking pickle iced tea. People are drinking, putting pickles on everything.
It does sound disgusting to me.
It's so good. But here's the thing, it's polarizing. People who do not like pickles are finding a problem because they're running into pickles everywhere. It's like, remember when bacon was like the Paris Hilton of ingredients? Pickle is slowly rising to become maybe like the Chapel Rowan. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm just saying pickles are everywhere. And
I love your analogy game too.
Yeah, if you love it, you're in. If you don't, I'm sorry.
All right. Well, follow Steph on Instagram. Find out all things pickle at Stephanie March. Connect with her directly at smarchandco.com. Today's case file is powered by Comcast. Comcast Business is a global secure networking provider with a comprehensive suite of solutions, including connectivity, networking, cybersecurity, and managed services. As the leading provider of advanced technology solutions, Comcast Business helps businesses of all sizes adapt, evolve, and thrive in an ever-changing digital landscape. Find out more at business.comcast.com. Rate, review, and subscribe to The Crisis Files on your platform of choice. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram at The Crisis Files. Visit thecrisisfiles.com for all 4 seasons of the show. I'm Roshini Rajkumar. Join me next time on The Crisis Files.